that last episode, I shared something a little personal, one of my little personal stories. And today I'm going to share another one. I'm going to start off with something real from my own life as a homeschool mom. There are days that I lose it. Can you believe it? I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not proud of it. I don't like it. And there are moments I walk away thinking, Lord, did anything I even said stick? My youngest is so smart. I mean, he really is. But there are days he just looks at me with that blank stare, and I'm sitting there wondering, where did it all go? And recently, he was with my mom doing his state testing for the school. And she sent me a message saying she had a funny story that she wanted to tell me about, that he had said. And I immediately thought, oh my goodness, there is no telling what this child has told my mother. Because your kids will tell on you. So she starts telling me that he knows he has 5 fingers on each hand. Now, you're not going to understand that right away. But the second she said it, I started laughing because I knew exactly where this was going. So my son has a habit of holding up his hands to count. And when he gets all 5 fingers up on one hand, he will literally stop and count every single finger one by one before moving on. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe a new hand appeared and it suddenly had 3 fingers or 4 fingers. It's not always going to have 5 fingers. I don't know, but it drives me insane. So one day in my frustration, because I wanted to get done and things were taking a little longer than I wanted them to, I just asked him, I said, do you realize that you have 5 fingers on each hand? Like 5 plus 5 is 10. So you know that you've got 5. There's no reason to count anything else. I said, so if you already have all of them up, you're going to start with 5. And then if you have 3 fingers up on the other hand, you're just going to go 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't have to count every single one of them again. And y'all, this has been an ongoing conversation. I remind him of this all the time. But apparently, this very day that he's with my mother and not with me, it finally clicks. Because as he held up his hand to start counting, he stopped because he remembered what I said. And he turns and he tells my mother in the same exact tone that I had used. Mom said, you've already got 5 fingers. You don't need to count them again. Y'all, when she told me that, I just sat there laughing because in that moment, I realized something that stayed with me. 2 things, really. First, he is listening. So he's hearing what I'm saying because I tell him all the time, he has momitis. He can't hear. But the second, he's listening to everything, even my tone. And it hit me. I don't always get it right either. And I think that's the part we don't talk about enough. There are moments that I walk away thinking about the mistakes I've made, wondering if I've handled something the right way. But somewhere in all of that, even in the moments I wish I could redo, something is still getting in deep. And maybe what I need to work on isn't just what I'm saying, but how I'm saying it. And that's so hard. Welcome back to Makin Macon, Encouragement in Chaos. I'm Susan Rayner, pastor's wife, homeschooling mom, and your friend in the middle of a mess. And I know that was a lengthy opening, but my goodness, I had to be truthful in this moment because it goes along with everything that we are going to talk about in this episode. Because In our last episode, if you haven't listened to that, you need to go back and really pay attention to that. And I tell a little funny story at the beginning of it too, but that's episode 9. But we talked about the faith your children are watching and how those small everyday moments are shaping more than we realize. And so today, I want to sit in the other side of that conversation for a minute, the part we don't always say out loud. What about the moments where it doesn't feel like it's working at all? The days where you walk away thinking, oh, man, I missed that. I should have done better. And you can't tell me that you don't feel that way, because we've all done that. Or what about the quiet weight that comes with feeling like you're falling short? Because if we're honest, those moments come too. And sometimes they linger longer than we like. I want to take you to a verse that has anchored me in those very seasons. Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if," there's a big if, "we faint not." That verse tells us something important. It tells us there will be moments where we will feel weary. We're going to feel weary. We're doing the right thing. We're basically doing the right thing. I'm sorry, I get my tongue all twisted there. Where we're going to feel weary, and where doing the right thing doesn't feel easy, and where we don't immediately see the fruit of what we're pouring into. See, I didn't see that immediately he was understanding that, even though he was. But it doesn't mean that we're failing. It means we're in the middle of the process. And sometimes the middle is the hardest place to sit. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And one of the hardest parts of motherhood is that so much of what we do happens beneath the surface. We are planting, correcting, guiding, praying, and showing up day after day. And there are times it feels like none of it is taking root. But just because we don't see it right away doesn't mean God isn't working. Isaiah 55:11 reminds us that his word will not return void. Even when we don't see immediate results, God is still moving beneath the surface, doing a work we cannot see yet. I can remember so many church services where I felt like I didn't hear a single word of the message. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was tending to my child. Keeping them quiet, helping them sit still, trying to keep things from becoming a distraction. And I would leave that service thinking, what was the point? But now, looking back, I see it differently. They were watching. They were learning what church looked like, what it meant to sit in the presence of God, and how to be a part of something bigger than themselves. I have watched my son come home, and this has been within the last couple of years. He's 9 now, and so his attention span still isn't quite there, but I can remember him coming home, and he would tell me what he heard the preacher say. And I was thinking the child is not even listening at all, because I'm too busy trying to keep him quiet so he'll pay attention, or at least sit still and be quiet. But he would come home and he could tell me everything that someone said. See, that's what I keep talking about. Those moments matter. See, even when I walked away feeling like I got nothing out of them, they still mattered. And it wasn't just about sitting in a pew. It was about teaching them how to be in the presence of God. It was teaching them how to pray, not just hear about prayer. I was teaching them how to worship, not just watch someone else do it, because we lead them by example. They learn how to talk to God by listening to how we talk to Him. They learn how to respond in worship by watching how we respond. And that doesn't just happen in church. That happens at home, in the car, in the middle of everyday life. And even outside of that, people are watching too. We've talked about this. The way we respond in public, the way we handle pressures, the way we carry ourselves when things don't go the way we planned. All of it is a reflection of what lives inside of us, whether we realize it or not. And I think that's where we have to gently shift our thinking, because we often measure success by what we feel in the moment. But God is working on something deeper than our feelings. He's working on our hearts, and that takes time. And then there's the part that can feel even heavier. Sometimes, even when you've done everything you know to do, when you've prayed, taught, shown them, and lived it in front of them, your children may still make their own choices. And those choices may not always reflect what you've taught them. And that can feel like a failure as a parent, even when it isn't. So I want to say this very clearly, and I want you to really hear it. Your child's choice is not a reflection of your failure. There comes a point where faith becomes personal, where what they have seen has to become what they choose. Your responsibility was never to control the outcome. It was to be faithful in what God asked you to do, to teach, to show, to love, and to trust Him with the rest. Proverbs 22:6 is probably the key scripture that you've got to keep in mind. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That does not mean there won't be seasons of wandering, but it does mean what has been planted is still there. The prayers, the word, the example, they don't disappear. And God knows how to reach them in ways we never could. So if you've been sitting in that place, questioning yourself, replaying moments, wondering if you're getting it right, I want you to pause for just a second and take a breath. You are not alone in that, and you're not failing, even if it feels like it some days. You're walking through something that requires patience, faith, and trust in a way that stretches you, and God is with you in it. So if there's one thing that I hope that you take away from today, it's this: God is faithful to what has been planted. And maybe you're sitting there thinking about the moments you didn't get it right, because Lord knows I've had plenty of those. I'm still having to repent every day and ask my kids for forgiveness. And I'm trying. Maybe it's the tone that you wish you could take back, the reaction you wish you would have handled differently, the days that just felt like a mess from start to finish. Can I just remind you of something? God is not asking you to be perfect, and He never has. Oh, thank the Lord for that. What He's asking of you is to be faithful. And even in the moments where you feel like you missed it, He is still able to work through what you've already planted. Even when you don't see it yet, and even when it feels like you're falling short, He is still working. So if this encouraged you today, I'd love for you to share it with someone who may need it. And if you need a little more encouragement like this throughout your week, something real, something steady, right in the middle of everyday life, I'd love for you to join me over at the blog at makinmacon.com, where I share more encouragement. You can go up there in the tabs and it's all up there in the top. Just find it, whatever you need. And if you want it sent straight to your inbox, some encouragement, weekly encouragement, midweek. The Stay Rooted email is where I share those gentle weekly reminders to pause, breathe, and stay grounded in Him. You will find all of those links in the show notes below. But one thing I want you to remember, always remember, that I'm always praying for you, even if I don't know who you are. God bless.